Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. By Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in store or online at mybobs.com. And by Cadillac. Visit CadillacTristate.com for exceptional offers. Get to Citi Field Sunday, September 24th for Fan Appreciation Weekend and the final McDonald's Family Sunday of 2017 when the Mets play the Nationals. All fans in attendance will receive a 2018 magnetic schedule courtesy of Hyundai. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Top of the Unlimited Baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. The Indians clinched the American League Central last night. Francisco Lindor along the way. 10 straight games with an extra base hit, 4 shy of the major league record held by Paul Wainer and Chipper Jones. Zach Greinke putting himself in the Cy Young conversation. He's now 17-6, 2.87 as he shut out the Giants over 8 innings last night. And Rick Porcello, the Cy Young winner last year, having a terrible year but bouncing back late. 7 1/3 strong innings for the Red Sox last night. They beat Tampa Bay 3-1 to keep their lead at 3 games in the American League East. Mets and Braves rubber game Sunday afternoon. First pitch dead ahead. Afternoon. Kevin Plawecki gets his 3rd crack at hitting cleanup. Why not? He's been swinging the bat well since coming back from the minor leagues. Phil Evans gets his first big league start. He'll play 3rd base and bat 8th today. Jose Reyes, day off yesterday, back in there today. Dominic Smith in a hot streak right now as the Mets try to get the rubber game of this series against the guy they have struggled against in the past, Julio Teheran.
They certainly have, Gare. He's got a career mark against the Mets at 8-4 with an ERA at 2.56. That will be his 19th career start against the Mets. He's started 4 games against them this season. He's 1-1 with a sparkling ERA. He has always been a tough on the Metsies. And we'll take a look at the Coors Light defense, the Brave defense, of course. Camargo moves from short to 3rd. Swanson back in the lineup at shortstop. Freitas back behind the plate. And Jace Peterson with another start. He's kind of platooned, a left-hand hitter. And the 2 other guys there are solid glove men, everyday players.
Tehran won the home opener for the Braves, then lost 9 straight home games. It was the longest losing streak in Atlanta Braves history. Then he's won his last 2, as Keith mentioned, in the Open. So perhaps coming to terms with this ballpark, where the ball really flew out early in the season. It has seemed in this series, though, a much fairer ballpark than what we saw early in the year.
I agree. It's kind of calmed down. We talked with the TV crew announcers over there for the Bravos, and they say that the ballpark did calm down. And we remember, Gary, in April when we were here, the wind was really blowing. It was windy and it was blowing out to right field. Everything seemed to carry.
And the wind has not really blown at all in this series. Flags have been hanging limp for 3 days. It's a gorgeous afternoon. Temperature around 80 degrees. In fact, it's even sunny in our booth.
Yes, it is.
Which is the first time I can ever remember that happening in any ballpark, where there is actually sun on our desk as the game begins.
We're going to get a tan on our forearms.
Nori Aoki takes a strike from Tehran, and we're underway. Aoki 2 for 6 in the series, a pair of doubles last night. His 14th game as a Met. The third baseman Camargo pinches in against Aoki, and Tehran comes up and in, and Nori tries to hold the swing, but he went around, and it's 0-2.
Well, they say that Tehran has starting to pitch more aggressively in this ballpark. I mean, he's 8-2 on the road, folks, with an ERA below 3. So it's got to be the ballpark.
Well, his walk rate is the highest it's been at any point in his career, 3.4 walks per 9 innings. But his home run rate is also the highest it's been at any point in his career. He's given up 30 home runs this year, second most in the league. And so you can understand why he might have gotten a little gun shy early in the season. However, when you look at his home and road splits, 17 of those home runs have come here, but 13 have come on the road. So it's not just the ballpark. It's obviously at some point got in his head.
I think in April a lot of this Braves pitching staff got spooked.
Well, we saw that with Bartolo Colon and how poorly he pitched here before he got traded to Minnesota, where he has fared a lot better.
Well, for Bartolo to be here, a fly ball pitcher, that was not a recipe for success.
2-2 to Aoki with Jose Reyes on deck. And Tehran misses upstairs with the fastball, and it's 3-2. Tehran just 26 years old. He has been a full-time starter for the Braves for 5 years. In fact, this is his 30th start of the year. He has made 30 or more starts each of the last 5 seasons. Last time a Braves pitcher had a streak that long was Greg Maddux. 3-2 coming, and he misses ball 4. So after getting ahead on Aoki, he loses Nori to a walk, and the Mets have a leadoff base run.
Boy, it is a bright day today.
A few clouds rolled in earlier, but bright sunshine dominating the ballpark right now. So here's Reyes, had the day off yesterday. Went 0 for 4 in the opening game of the series Friday night. And Camargo comes even closer at third base against Jose, who drills one toward right center field. Back in the gap goes Markakis, and he can't get it. It rolls to the warning track. Aoki on his way to third. He's being waved home. Reyes trying for third. He makes it safely with a run-scoring triple, and 2 batters into the game, the Mets have a 1-0 lead. Well, Aoki read that really well, even though Markakis came very close to catching that ball. Aoki was on the move all the way, and Reyes has his 7th triple of the year.
Well, he took a big gamble here. I think Markakis gets a glove on it. Let's see if I'm wrong. Nope, just out of his reach. But Aoki did not hesitate. Now a little bit of there. He got a little, but he scores. All good. Reyes not sure if that ball is going to be caught, and now he turns it on.
And now Nimmo takes a breaking ball for a strike. So the infield's going to stay back for the Braves, already down 1-0. Reyes at third and nobody out. Nimmo 1 for 8 in this series. That was a milestone hit for Jose Reyes. For Jose, his 470th extra base hit as a Met. That moves him into sole possession of second place on the Mets all-time extra base hit list. He just passed Darryl Strawberry. David Wright, by far the leader in that category, 658 extra base hits. Nimmo takes a curveball in the dirt, and it's 1-1. Nimmo hitting at .274, .399 on base percentage. Kevin Plawecki hitting cleanup again today, waiting on deck. So the Mets striking first against Tehran. They beat Tehran up in early May here, got 6 runs off him in 6 innings. A rare time that the Mets have had success against Tehran. And the off-speed pitch bounced foul, 1-2. There is that extra base hit list. Reyes passing Strawberry for second all time.
How many years did Piazza play for in the Mets uniform?
Came here in May of '98 and played through the 04 season.
Okay.
Is that right?
It's a lot of extra base
hits.
hits.
03 or 04?
That's a lot of extra base hits in a very short period.
And tight to Nimmo, 2-2. Well, I mean, Darrell was here a similar amount of time. Came up in '83, was here through '90. Of course, Wright and Reyes have had many more years than that.
Yes. Historically, the Mets have not had people that played the majority of their career. Ball 4 again for Nimmo right there. Boy, is Tehran off to a shaky start.
So 3 batters, a walk, a triple, and a walk. And Tehran's still looking for his first out, already down in the game 1-0, and the Mets will try and cash in with Kevin Plawecki coming up. Plawecki started Friday night, went 2 for 4 in his 16 games since being recalled from Las Vegas. Kevin's hitting .306, and so he gets another crack at hitting cleanup, 3rd time he has this year. Reyes at 3rd, Nimmo at 1st, still nobody out, and Tehran searching. Tehran's in his best stretch of the season. He's won his last 4 starts, 2.08 ERA over that span. And Plawecki hits one just foul. 0-1.
He's got a chance to get over 500 and pitching against a team that he's owned over his career. But he's got himself in big trouble here.
Infield back at double play depth. And Nimmo dives back in. You have to watch it with Tehran. He will pick you off. 26 pickoffs in the last 5 seasons. By far the most of any right-hander in the game. What's interesting, though, is even with all those pickoffs, they have been running wild against Tehran this year. 24 stolen bases. And fastball off the plate, 1-1, and that doesn't seem to compute. You would think a guy with such a great pickoff move, guys wouldn't take such liberties against him, but it's been a problem for Tehran this year. Not a very big lead for Nimmo. And a good slider by Tehran to get ahead on Plawecki, 1-2.
Well, Tehran isn't real quick home, Gary. He's all very long-legged. Got a big stride home, a little bit big leg kick. You can see the long legs there. 6'2", 205 pounds.
Taking his time here, in trouble in the 1st inning. And he gets a borderline strike at best. C.B. Buckner somehow saw that as a strike. Plawecki is incredulous. That's the first out for Tehran. It looked to be high and it looked to be outside, but C.B. Buckner ruled it strike 3.
Boy, you got a cheap RBI out there.
That's not even close to being a strike.
Well, it was belt high. I thought it would look higher, but it was definitely outside. And CB's getting it a little bit from that bench.
He hears it a lot, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Here's Dominic Smith, who's red hot right now. 3 for 7 in this series with a couple of doubles and 3 RBIs.
Got his average up to 231. He's off the interstate, well off the interstate. Been swinging a very good bat, using the entire field. Got a big RBI, 2 RBI double to right center last night.
Reyes at 3rd, Nimmo at 1st with 1 out. And the backdoor breaking ball misses. Last night, Dominic Smith had 2 hits and 2 RBIs. Gavin Cecchini had 3 hits and 2 RBIs. The last time the Mets won a game in which 2 rookies had at least 2 hits and 2 RBIs, you got to go back 7 years. September of 2010, Mets played a game at Wrigley Field, and in that game, Ruben Tejada, Ike Davis, and rookie pitcher Jonathan Neese all had at least 2 hits and 2 RBIs. And that's what Smith and Cecchini did last night.
Well, coming through pretty good in the clutch, as I've noted.
Well, he's hitting .353 with runners in scoring position, and now Tehran, who's already walked 2 in the inning, is behind him 3-0.
Do you give him the hit sign here? He gave the youngster Terry gave him a hit sign a while ago.
That was in Houston against a lefty, so why wouldn't you give him one here? So Tehran really struggling in this opening inning. Only a gift call on the strike 3 to Plawecki has gotten him an out. And Dom does get the hit sign, but comes up empty, 3-1.
Threw him a little sinker there. 3-run. Let's see if they put Nimmo in motion. I kind of like the idea. I don't think it's going to happen, though.
Not going. And it's outside. Ball 4. 3rd walk of the inning for Tehran. This is very unusual, and the pitching coach Chuck Hernandez is going to go out to see him. Mets have the bases loaded with 1 out. First year for Chuck Hernandez as the Braves pitching coach, after a long tenure for Roger McDowell in that job.
It's like he's talking to the ground. Look at me when you're talking. There, thanks.
Well, Ahmed Rosario gets an opportunity here with the bases loaded in the opening inning. Rosario 0 for 4 last night after sitting out a game with a hip flexor strain.
What was with the dramatic music during the meeting at the mound? Jeez.
Just trying to get you.
Let the people talk.
Get you revved up for the next moment, Keith. Bases loaded, 1 out, and Rosario fouls off the slider, 0-1.
Boy, he got a hanger right there.
StatCast came out with new information yesterday that listed Ahmed Rosario as the fastest shortstop in Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Covers a lot of territory, including Trey Turner of the Nats, who's always been considered maybe the fastest player in the game. Rounded to the right side. Albies gets the force at second, but that's all, and the Mets get another run as Reyes comes in to score, and it's 2-0 New York. Well, there was no way they were going to turn 2 on that ball. Albies got the middle runner, and Rosario picks up his 9th RBI. So now 2-0 Mets. 1st and 3rd and 2 out, and now Lagares. Juan is 1 for 7 in this series. Had an RBI hit in the game yesterday against R.A. Dickey that got the Mets their first run. So the Mets jumping out fast for the 2nd straight day. They scored 5 runs in the first 4 innings against Dickey last night. And again, ball 1 from Tehran, and it's been the pattern this entire 1st inning.
26 pitches thus far.
You got Rosario at first, 6 steals and 8 tries. Not running, and the fastball in for a strike to Lagares, 1-1. Juan getting to play every day in center field, and as has generally been the case in his career, he is hit in fits and starts, trying to get something consistent going offensively. There goes Rosario, and it's hit in the air toward the gap in right center field, but this time Marquez is back there to get to the ball and make the catch to retire the side. Mets get 2 in the opening inning for Robert Gsellman. Dansby Swanson back in the lineup after a night off last night. David Freitas gets his second start of the series behind the plate. Camargo moves to third. Otherwise the same unit for the Braves against Robert Gsellman.
Oh, there's Big Robert and his Land Rover numbers. There are too many hits. Doesn't walk a lot of people. His last outing against the Cubs, he got roughed up pretty big time. His last win was against the Phillies, where he went 6 innings and gave up 3 runs in that victory.
That was his first game back from a stint in the minor leagues. Looked like he had gotten some things ironed out, but he was in trouble constantly in Chicago. He tiptoed his way out of trouble for the first 3 innings, but then it all caved in on him in the 4th, and he lasted just the 4 innings. Ender Inciarte leads off against him, 2 for 9 in the series, and takes a fastball for a strike.
4th appearance for Gsellman. His first appearance was in relief back on April 3rd. Remember, he started the season in relief. Then 3 starts after that.
Bunted by Inciarte, charging Evans, the rookie, getting his first start, and he throws him out. Nicely done by Evans. Haven't seen him much in the field, but he handles that bunt by Inciarte for the first out.
Uses the glove here, so the exchange is clean. The throw is right on line. Nice play.
Good judgment, too, to know that he had time to use the glove.
Well done.
Evans, who started out his pro career as a shortstop, has played a lot of second and third, mostly third this year in the minors. Here's Ozzie Albies, a 20-year-old second baseman, takes a knee-high fastball for a strike. Albies had a 13-game hitting streak stopped last night. It had been the longest hitting streak for a Braves rookie since Freddie Freeman 6 years ago. And Gsellman comes in on him and gets ahead 0-2. And there is Freddie waiting on deck. And Albies fouls it away.
I don't know about you, but all this glare in this booth, I can have a hard time in looking at the monitor watching this game. Tough to come with that real precision analysis, Gare.
I'll try and cover for you if I can, Keith, but I'm having a little trouble myself. Now the clouds are coming in now.
Yeah, it's better. Well,
clouds are our friends right now.
I've never been in a booth where the sun's been beats on us like this.
Cold foul. You know, it happens sometimes when we get to the ballpark, especially later in the season because of the angle of the sun. But to have the sun in our eyes during a game, it never happened.
Nope.
I don't recall it ever happening before. Now the clouds have taken over, so you can't really tell. But here we are. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. 1-2 coming. And Albies takes strike 3 called. Painting the inside corner. Gsellman gets the second out.
Lexus defense for your Metropolitans. Phil Evans. Nicely done, guys in the truck. He goes by Phil, not Philip, at third base. His first start for the Mets. And out in the outfield, that has been pretty much the groove out there. Lagares in center field, which I like Juan defensively in center field. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, unless you can have like Willie Mays or Andrew Jones, I think there aren't too many you'd pick over. Freddie Freeman homered last night. It was his 27th home run of the year and his 20th career home run against the Mets, which is the most he's hit against any team. And Gsellman looks like he is bound and determined to pitch inside today.
Well, you can't run that. You can't live on the outside corner when you're not an overpowering pitcher.
It is a message that has been delivered repeatedly by Dan Worthen and Terry Collins to this pitching staff, especially over the second half of this season, with the prevalence of hitters trying to uppercut and hit the ball out of the ballpark. The fact that you have got to pitch up and in to be successful.
You know something too, it's not a whole lot of guys, even back 30 years, 40 years, could get on top of that high ball. Up and in pitch is always a tough pitch.
Freddie hooks one toward the right field corner, and that lands fair and short hops the wall. And Freeman cruises into second base with a 2-out double. 32nd double of the year for Freddie Freeman.
Well, he's one of the premier hitters. Had that terrible start. Tries a little backdoor slider here. Didn't do much. Fred, look at the flick of the wrist. See that top hand right there? It's almost like a slap shot. It's got a little bit of a hockey swing at times. The ultimate hockey swing, of course, was your favorite, Richie Hebner.
60th extra base hit of the year for Freeman. And remember, he missed 6 weeks with a broken wrist, so he's had himself quite a year. In fact, Freeman last night finally accumulated enough plate appearances to qualify for the league leaders, and he is featured prominently now. Here's Nick Markakis. Freeman started the day 3rd in the league in on-base percentage, 3rd in slugging, 4th in batting average. If his team were doing a little better, he would be considered an MVP candidate. You see the Braves are wearing their Los Bravos uniforms today. Doing all the announcements in Spanish as well as English today. So with Freeman having enough to qualify, there are the current batting average leaders in the National League.
It's not over with yet, although Bryce Harper has not returned to the lineup.
They said that Bryce was running the bases at about 3/4 speed yesterday, but not ready to come back yet from that bone bruise in his knee. They're still hopeful that he'll get some time in before the end of the year and be ready to go in October.
Is he gonna? Does he have enough to qualify?
You mean if he doesn't play anymore?
Right.
I don't know that.
Okay.
Check that.
What is the qualification? Is it 450 plate appearances?
502 plate appearances.
Okay.
Grounded to Reyes. Markakis retired, and so are the Braves. A double and one left. 2-0 Mets after 1. built up a whole infrastructure around this ballpark, hotels and retail and all sorts of stuff going up.
Yeah, the usual stuff that happens. Try to rejuvenate our neighborhood.
Except there was no neighborhood here. Phil Evans drives one to center field. Inciarte goes back to get it. So Evans hits a bullet.
Then create one here.
Right, exactly. Starting from scratch out here in the middle of nowhere.
Boy, this town is so widespread. It's like, I guess the only one that's worse is Houston as far as just its vastness. Yep.
Oh, L.A.
That's true, L.A.
So one pitch, one hard out for Tehran, and now Gsellman, who has 5 hits this year. Mets haven't had much problem scoring in this ballpark. They've played 9 games here, and they've scored 57 runs coming into the day, 6.3 runs per game, and then 2 more in the first inning today. You can already say that the Mets like this place a whole lot more than they did Turner Field, which was a house of horrors for the Mets over the 20 years the Braves played there. Here the Mets won 6 and lost 3. Much more comfortable. It's a small sample size, though. See what they do over the next 20 years. If this ballpark lasts that long, you never know, they may need another one.
I think this one's going to be here to stay for quite some time.
Well, you never know. We thought that about Turner Field. Albies handles the ground ball and throws out Gsellman 2 away. I mean, it's shocking, right, that a ballpark should be obsolete in 20 years.
It's all about the timing. That stadium Turner Field was built before all the bells and whistles, and it's all about maxing out on dollars. I totally understand. This has got all the modern facilities, all the dining rooms, and everything that goes with it. That's just the way it is. I completely understand. I just wish people would sit in their seats and watch the game. But then again, with all the music in between pitches, that might drive me into the restaurant or the bar.
We might be able to find you a seat there right now if you'd like. Here's Nori Aoki, who walked and scored his first time up, and he takes a strike. The truck is here. That's quite a pickup. I mean, that's a really big pickup.
With the cab.
It would fit right in here in Georgia.
With the big dog in the back. I love the big cab in the back. When I had Duncan, the flat coat retriever, had the Chevy truck with the big cab in the back, just for Duncan.
Think I could fit my 2 Great Danes?
Yes, you could. With the big cab, you could. I think you'd look great in a pickup.
You know, it's much more fun with the Great Dane to ride around with a sunroof, so she can stick her head out the top. Gets a lot of attention that way. 1-2 to Aoki, and he smacks one to left field, and Peterson misplayed it, and it goes over his head. Aoki on his way to second. He takes the turn. He's going to try for 3, and he'll make it safely with a triple. Well, Peterson, we mentioned last night, he's an infielder playing the outfield. He almost messed one up last night, and this one he completely messed up. It goes for a triple for Aoki.
And usually those line drives hit right at you, or the ones that can fool you. This is a definite misplay. I mean, if I'm Peterson and I just play a little deeper. It's easier to come in than go back. So,
except he was a pretty good defensive back in college at McNeese State. He should be able to backpedal.
That's true. But the wide receivers don't run as fast as a line drive.
That's a good point. Well, Reyes had a triple his first time up. Mets with 2 triples in 2 innings against Tehran. And Reyes tries to lay off the changeup and does. 1-1. Jose's triple was his 7th of the year. It drove in a run. His 53rd run batted in. It's pretty productive for a guy who has not been in a run scoring spot in the lineup. RBI spot. Two and one to Reyes. Jose bounces it foul, 2-2. Aoki at third with 2 out. Nimmo waits on deck. Two coming, and he struck him out with the fastball. Second strikeout of the day for Tehran. Mets waste a 2-out triple by Aoki. Still lead at 2-0 as we go to the bottom of the second in Atlanta. Not every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Robert Gsellman carries a 2-0 lead into the bottom of the second. Johan Camargo leads off for the Braves, playing third base today after playing shortstop last night. Camargo's been a nice surprise for the Braves as a rookie. 23-year-old from Panama, making his 53rd start. He's hitting .303. Gsellman continues to try and pitch inside. Ball to strike to Camargo. Camargo's a switch hitter, much better right-handed than left, but he's hitting .257 from this side. And again inside, this time with a slider, 2-1. Dansby Swanson on deck, and then Jace Peterson for the Braves in the second. Camargo bounces one slowly down to Dom Smith. Easy play at first for the first out. So Gsellman's gone 4 outs, 1 on strikeout, 3 on ground balls, and that's his game.
Well, he's not an overpowering guy. He's a sinker, slider pitcher, changeup, and it's a pitch to contact. And he's a guy that you have to have a good defensive infield out there behind him.
So 1 out now. Dansby Swanson, who had the night off last night, went 1 for 4 in the series opener. It's been a big turnaround for Swanson since he spent a couple of weeks in the minor leagues, late July, early August. Swanson slices one foul, and it's 0-2.
Did Swanson ever get hit in the face, Gare? Is that why he wears the face guard? I know they're starting to come into the game a little bit more in the helmets with that protective covering around the cheekbone.
He was in the Arizona Fall League when he got hit.
Yes, that's right. I thought he did.
But you know, there are a lot of guys who are wearing protective face shields, even if they haven't been hit,
right,
just as a preventive measure.
You're seeing a lot more of that.
Well, I mean, once a guy like Giancarlo Stanton gets hit and he starts wearing it, you know, a lot of guys pay attention. Gsellman gets the fastball over for strike 3 called. Second strikeout for Robert.
Good pitch down in the strike zone there. Had a little bit of late movement. Good pitch.
I think the first guy we saw wearing that shield was Jason Hayward after John Neese hit him.
Yes.
He started wearing that.
And he still wears it.
Yeah. 2 out. Here's Jace Peterson. 3 for 5 in this series, and he takes a strike. It's been a rough year for Peterson. Playing time is diminished. He's hitting just .210. He's had a good series with the bat, but he's looked a little shaky in the outfield. And he breaks his bat and rolls one out to Reyes. Strong inning for Gsellman. He gets him out 1-2-3. We go to the third. 2-0 New York. Games, including opening day and the Subway Series, plus gives you opportunity to select your 2018 seating location this November during the online Select a Seat. Place your deposit today at Mets.com/deposits. 2-0 New York as we go to the third. Brandon Nimmo leads off against Julio Teheran. Teheran walked 3 batters in the first inning and gave up 2 runs. One of the walks went to Nimmo. Hardly a surprise. His walk rate is among the highest in the majors since he came up. And his on-base percentage now over 400. That'll play. Nimmo, then Plawecki and Smith for the Mets. And you know, with all the uncertainty surrounding Michael Conforto going into next year, it certainly opens up a huge opportunity for Brandon Nimmo.
Absolutely.
Now, is he going to supply the kind of power that Conforto does? Probably not.
No, you got to stay within yourself. You got to do what you are capable of doing, and what Nimmo brings is energy. He brings speed, which is desperately needed in this ball club. Excuse me. Someone at the top of the order. I mean, you could hit him first. You could hit him second.
Yeah. Now, he certainly profiles as a leadoff hitter, no question about it. Here's the 1-2 and the fastball outside. Well, the Mets are a substantially changed team now because they were so slow and unathletic earlier in the year. They have more stolen bases lately, but for the season still the fewest in the National League.
It just becomes a tough watch when you just live and die by one base at a time. What did they call it? The old Earl Weaver rule of baseball in the old American League.
But just remember what Earl Weaver said. He said pitching, 3-run homers, and defense.
Gotcha.
And that's the other piece for this team, because the more athletic you are, probably the better defensively you're going to be.
Correct.
And that's something that was lacking, and I think the Mets are a better defensive team right now than they have been for most of the year.
Well, when they had Cabrera at short, and you played Rivera, TJ at second,
or even when Walker played second, because he was so compromised.
And you got a guy like Gsellman out there who was relying on some leather out there on the infield.
Well, there's no question as that ball almost struck Plawecki in the on-deck circle. Fortunate to get out of the way. Certainly Rosario's been a big upgrade at short. Dom Smith has helped the defense at first. Cabrera's actually been terrific at third, much better than he was at short. And now you're playing Lagares every day in center, which makes a huge difference.
Correct. And Nimmo's not a negative in the outfield. He's a very, very above average outfielder.
That's too high. Ball 4, and he's on with another walk. His ability to draw bases on balls is remarkable.
Well,
he's a regular Eddie Yost.
Eddie Yost was a long time third base coach for the Mets, was he not?
Yes, he was. But during his career with the Senators, he was the king of the walk in an era when walks were not nearly as appreciated.
I remember Eddie Yost coming up as a rookie. He was still coaching, I believe, for the Mets. But he had to be, because he caught my attention. He was always impeccably dressed in his uniform. And he had
kept himself in great shape.
Great shape. His hair was always well groomed. He just looked like a businessman in a baseball uniform.
How about this on Eddie Yost? He had 1,863 hits, 1,614 walks. So he almost had as many walks as hits. He led the American League in walks 6 times, walked as many as 151 times in a season. Lifetime on base percentage of .394.
How many runs did he score a season? That's the most important thing. He's there to score.
Scored 100 runs 5 times.
Good for him.
115 in his best year with the Tigers.
Is he still alive?
I don't believe so, Keith. I think he passed away. 2012 he passed away. He went to NYU, you know. Born in Brooklyn.
So he had to coach third base all those years. He was there, I believe. Was he there in the lean years with the Mets? In the 70s?
He came with Gil Hodges, I believe. Was there for the championship years. There goes Nimmo. Fly ball out to right. Nimmo's going to have to come back. Markakis across the line makes the grab, and Nimmo gets back to first. So Plawecki is retired one away.
What I always remember about Eddie Yost is that he always ran to his third base coaching box, which with the Shea Stadium was always the first base line, and he always ran off the field to the dugout.
There's Dominic Smith, who walked his first time. And Tehran finds the knees with that pitch.
Boy, he's got an erratic strike zone, CB.
Well, always. And quickly 0-2 to Dom. Good news, Keith.
What's that?
It appears we're out of the sun for the rest of
the
day.
We are. Looks that way.
You will not require reapplication of sunscreen. It's trying to keep you healthy.
I hear you. We've got a lot of, when you're in this game, you get a lot of exposure to the sun. Got to go see the dermatologist once a year. Get the body scan. Just to be safe.
It's good advice, Keith.
I do it every October. I never know. Life's good.
Well, especially somebody who made his living being out in the sun as much as you did.
Yeah, and you know, life's good. I want to live it as long as I can.
Well, as long as you stay with us.
Well,
you know,
say what, that chops off around 8 years.
You're not going to have any messages for the fans at the end of this season, are you?
No.
Oh, good. Okay.
No.
We can count on your presence next year.
Oh, I got 2 more years.
All right.
On the contract.
Because you knocked some people off kilter a few years ago.
I know.
With your
and
last day message.
Was not my intention. I'll never make that mistake again.
1-2 to Dom, and that's in dirt, smothered by Freitas, and it's 2-2. You know, people hang on your every word. They're very concerned about you and you know, your longevity, not only on this earth, which of course they care about too, but in this booth. Very important to them.
Well, I remember the time that I said that, I just jokingly said animals have rights, and I got a bunch of letters from people, from dog lovers and cat lovers. I had to go on the air and say, hey, I got 3 pets. I had 3 pets at that time. I was just kidding.
Good off-speed pitch by Tehran to strike out Smith for the second out. Third strikeout for Tehran. Well, not only do you have pets, but one of them is now a multimedia star.
Yeah, Hodge. Good little change up there, sinking, got him to chase. Yeah, Hodge has no idea.
Are you sure that he has no idea? Because, you know, it's like the horse who wins the Kentucky Derby. Do you think he doesn't know that something important happened?
Well, he was very well behaved in that commercial,
yes,
I must say.
He was. Rosario takes outside. Ahmed drove in a run with a fielder's choice his first time up. He certainly was a better actor than whoever played that baby.
You know how hard it was to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" to that baby?
I mean, the baby was a little inert, if you know what I mean. If you don't know what I'm talking about, folks, watch The Amazing Life and see what I'm talking about. Keith and Ronnie's star turns. Any more episodes?
I think one more filming. One more. We're going to do it next homestand, I believe. And that's it.
Hard-working first 3 innings for Tehran. Gave up 2 runs in the first inning. He's already walked 4. Trying to settle in, which we've seen him do before.
Boy, 63 pitches. He's not out of the third.
1-2. And Rosario tries to hold, and he went around strike 3 on the high fastball. Tehran has back-to-back strikeouts to finish off the top of the third. That's his 4th of the day. Mets lead it, though, 2-0. best. That came right here against the Braves. Remember the doubleheader back in June? Gsellman worked the first game. 6 2/3 scoreless innings, allowed just 3 hits that day. A 6-1 Mets win when they swept that doubleheader. A little slow getting off the mound, but he got there eventually.
Little Jerry Lee Lewis.
David Freitas leading off the home third. With that start from June. His high point of the season. Freitas making his 5th big league start. His 2nd in this series. Went 1 for 3. Drove on a run with a double. It was on Friday night. Freitas, a 28-year-old rookie from the University of Hawaii.
He's a rainbow.
A rainbow warrior.
That's right.
A few of those guys in the big leagues, particularly with the Cardinals. Colton Wong, Greg Garcia, played at Hawaii about the same time. 1-2 coming, and the slider fouled off. Pitcher Tehran is on deck, and then Inciarte for the Braves in the 3rd. The #1 catcher for the Braves, Tyler Flowers, is a little banged up right now. Got hit by a pitch Wednesday, so he has not played at all in this series. They really like what Flowers has brought them this year, offensively and defensively, particularly with his pitch framing. The pitch framing numbers can be a little mercurial, but this year Flowers is right on top, stealing more strikes than any catcher in the game. Stealing strikes with framing, it's like being a good salesman. But you have to have a mark if you're a good salesman. You have to have someone you can sell it to, and that's the home plate umpire if you're a catcher trying to frame pitches.
Well, I just hope that the powers to be don't ban framing.
Well,
that's stealing sign. That's stealing a pitch.
You know what's going to happen.
Like stealing signs. You get fined now for stealing signs.
So you're saying if you steal a strike, that would invoke some kind of a penalty? I don't think
I hope not.
No, I think what's going to happen on the other side is that eventually we're not going to have home plate umpires calling balls and strikes. We're going to have
amazing.
We're going to have a machine.
Wow.
And you know, they already rate the umpires based on the electronic strike zone. They don't feel as though it's foolproof enough at this point, but it's coming sometime in the next, I don't know, 5-10 years.
Wow. But you'd have to have a body back there, because who's going to call a play at the plate?
Right. No, I'm sure that the home plate umpire will have some kind of device that signals him, and then he'll make the call so that everybody knows.
Automated. Was that the right word?
Automated?
Yeah, whatever.
Well, I mean, it's very much, I mean, think about it. Now with the replay system, you have umpires on the field who are told from New York what the call is.
Right.
So it's really the same thing, just taken to a greater extent. And if they have the technology to do it, you know, rather than have a home plate umpire be, you know, bellyached out for an entire game as it's lined to Evans for the first out.
We're getting so far away from the human element in almost every area of life. I mean, it's the computer age has brought on tremendous advances, whether for the better or worse remains to be seen.
There's Tehran, who has 8 hits this year. One of the best bunters among big league pitchers. Up here in a hitting situation. Gsellman's retired 5 in a row after giving up Freeman's double in the first. And that's poked toward the middle. Rosario over to get it. Tehran does not bother running. And Rosario throws a lollipop to first for the second out. I'll ask you about that play in just a moment, Keith. But first, let me let you know that New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Budweiser. Look for the Budweiser team at Citi Field this season for your chance to be the Budweiser fan of the game and win unique prizes just like this lucky winner. Must be 21 and over. Okay, there you have a situation where the pitcher hits a ground ball. He does not run.
Right.
Rosario, rather than making a real throw to first base, just throws a half-baked lollipop to first. Is that acceptable on Rosario's part, or do you want him to just throw through that ball?
We've seen enough of Rosario now, Gary, at shortstop, that on routine ground balls, you know, he kind of throws almost sidearm. I can tell if I was a first baseman, he's a guy that's going to throw me a sinker. And we've seen enough now on routine plays when the ball's hit hard to him and it's an easy out that he throws a softer ball over there. So it's part of his game. The problem with that is you can probably do that 99 out of 100 times, but that 100th time might cost you a ball game. So I don't like you should be on the same speed all the time. I'm not saying throw it through a brick wall. Gary Templeton was that way. Sean and Dunston, as they got older, they realized what the heck, they wanted to show off their arm. This is just the reverse.
And Ciarte gets jammed, but flares one into center field for a base hit. And the Braves have their second hit of the day. Well, I know with Dunston, he always used to say the reason he threw so hard to first, as you watch Ciarte get that ball inside. He said the reason he threw so hard to first is because when he didn't throw it hard, he was less accurate.
Okay.
And so he threw it hard because he was making sure that he threw it right into the first baseman's chest.
And Gary Templeton liked to show off his arm because Gary's arm was very erratic. He did not have control of his throws. And in that 1 year, I believe, when did he make, I think 1977, Gary Templeton made 40 errors at shortstop. And that got the attention for me to win my Gold Glove the next year, my first one, because St. Louis was saying, hey, he would have made 60 errors if I hadn't been playing first base.
You saved him.
So, and Gary was quite a fielder, just a tremendous athlete, one of the greatest. There's three guys in this game that had the greatest talent I ever saw, and that was Doc, Darryl, and Gary Templeton.
That's high praise.
And all three of them had their troubles.
Shallow center. Lagares started back, now coming on, and retires Albies to end the inning. A hit and one left. We're through 3. 2-0 New York. Mets history 31 years ago today, the clincher
Yes, sir.
National League East title. That was Keith catching the ball at first base. Only played 1 inning in that game.
Dave Magadan started that game, went 3 for 4. It was a very cold night.
You don't look sick in the celebration there. You got a big smile.
Do you know how important that was for the Stems? You know, only 1 win, 69. Years of losing. Seaver getting traded. The bad years of the late 70s. And to really turn it around in 2 years, well, the 3rd year, it was just phenomenal. It was just such a great feeling of accomplishment. And you know, it was only the beginning. It was a great feeling of accomplishment because the Mets had been such a basement doormat team for so long. And then to win the division was just phenomenal. But we had more work to do. So we had reason to celebrate then. And then we celebrated against Houston. And then we celebrated ultimately in the World Series.
I'm just glad you were able to get out of your sick bed.
I had bad sinus. My sinus was always bad, and it would stay with me a week to 10 days. And it would just, we were so far ahead, and it was so cold that night. And I just told Davey, go ahead and play Magadan. I was just.
Magadan had a great game.
He was a big part of the win.
Fourth inning, Juan Lagares leads off against Julio Teheran. And he takes a curveball inside for ball 1. Lagares flied out to right his first time up. Evans on deck. Gsellman behind him. 7, 8, and 9 in the Mets order against Teheran, who's walked 4 and struck out 4 through the first 3 innings. And he goes back to the curveball and gets a strike, and it's 1-1. And Juan trying to bunt his way on, but he pops it up easy for Freitas. That is a part of Juan's game that he's going to have to work on. He's bound and determined to get bunts down, but his percentage of success is so low.
Well, it's 90% failure with Juan when he bunts, and he's got the right idea. A lot of times we see he doesn't pop up too often, but a lot of times he bunts it foul down the third baseline. And then with his speed, I mean, what a weapon it could be for him. Plus, he hits the ball on the ground so much, it's going to force the middle to the corner infielders to play in. It's going to open the hole for him.
Well, between his speed and the way he gets out of the box, he's got a little more margin for error than it seems like he feels that he has. You know what I mean?
Yes, I
understand. He can bunt it a little bit more fair and still be successful.
Well, Buddy Harrelson was a terrific bunter, sacrifice bunter, and a drag bunter. And I'm sure Buddy just put a lot of time in. Practice, 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 practice. Practice makes perfect.
The best I ever saw, and he was only a Met briefly at the end of his career, was Brett Butler.
Brett Butler was a tremendous bunter, yes.
And Brett would, you know, he had no power at all, so he would show bunt or attempt to bunt at least once almost every at bat.
He was a leadoff. He was a table setter, and he was quite a good one. Played here in Atlanta. Played with the Dodgers. Brief stint with the Metsies.
Giants. 0-2 to Evans, who hit a bullet his first time up right to the center fielder. Phil Evans, who just turned 25 last week. Carlsbad, California, 15th round pick by the Mets in 2011. And getting his first big league start today. We have been calling him Philip. He has let it be known he wants to be Phil.
I'm glad to hear that.
So he is Phil. Phil Evans. That's not Phil Evans. That's Julio Teheran. Seventh pitch of the at bat from Teheran, and Evans pops this one up. And it's the third baseman Camargo taking charge of it. 2 out. Road ahead presented by Buick.
Ah.
We move down to Miami for a 3-game series starting tomorrow night with a full booth.
4 straight games with full booth.
Those will be the first games in Miami since Hurricane Irma forced the Marlins to move their current series to Milwaukee. So we'll see how things are down in South Florida. I hear that the area around the ballpark, stores are just starting to reopen. They had a lot of power outages, but they say we should be good to go.
Well, up in Palm Beach area where I'm at, everybody was pretty much okay. Miami got a lot worse. And of course the West Coast and the Keys just got rolled over, steamrolled.
So much low-lying area.
Didn't have a chance. Hey, it's hurricane country. Hadn't been one in 13 years.
And more coming, I'm afraid. Gsellman hits one toward the middle. Albies on the backhand, bobbles it, and now rolls up his arm, and Gsellman is safe. Well, Albies had plenty of time had he made the transfer cleanly, but was unable to.
It's got to be an E4. You never know.
And it is indeed an error charged to Albies.
Good call.
I mean, right there, if he just gets the ball into his bare hand, he would have been fine. So Gsellman able to reach safely. For Albies, his 3rd big league error. Freeman and Gsellman, the 2 Californians, exchanging notes. And here's Nori Aoki, who's had a good day already. Walked and scored in the 1st, and then tripled over Peterson's head in left field in the 2nd. His 2nd triple of the season. A bizarre year for Aoki. 3 different teams: Houston, Toronto, New York. Unfortunately for Nori, he's kind of gone backwards in the standings every time he's moved.
Still got a big league uniform on.
The Astros, by the way, can clinch the American League West today. Their magic number is 1 after they beat Seattle yesterday.
They were an impressive bunch on that 3-game series down there that we had, Gare.
They went into a little bit of a slump after the Mets saw them, but they have righted themselves.
I tell you, and I'm not much of a promoter, but the teams on top this year's playoffs, postseason, the teams on top, they've got my interest. They're good teams. I'm going to watch. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun postseason.
Aoki lines one in the middle, base hit. Gsellman around 2nd. He'll go to 3rd. Inciarte is going to make the throw to 3rd base, and Gsellman slides in safely and down to 2nd.
He's out. Came off.
Oh, he came off the bag, and they called him out.
Good call.
Got there safely, but Gsellman trying the pop-up slide came off the bag, and Camargo put the tag on him. And that ends the inning. Terry Collins holding, wants to see whether maybe the Mets might want to challenge this call.
He does come off the bag. I saw it. It's whether he kept the glove on him. If he keeps the glove on him, he's going to be out. Well,
the Mets are still pondering.
That left foot must have been off the bag.
And they will not challenge. So it goes as a single for Aoki. There's that leg in the air.
No, it's right here.
Yep.
That's where he's out.
Yep, he's completely off the bag. And Camargo smartly kept the tag on him. So it goes as an 8-5 putout for the final out of the inning. So Gsellman will take that back to the mound. Still up 2-0. Freddie Freeman set to lead off for the Braves. Freddie made his debut against the Mets just a little over 7 years ago. 28 years old, second-round pick out of high school in 2007.
Well, he had that horrible start, the worst start of his career last season, and he felt he needed to overhaul his BP practices and tinker with his swing. He's crouched a little more. I really don't see it, but what he did in his BP, he changed his BP routine, and he went back to what his father did with his father.
Drives this one out to center, but Lagares is there, reaches up to get it one away.
He was taught by his father how to hit, and he said when he was a kid he'd hit a bushel of balls to left field, bushel of balls to center, and a bushel of balls to right. And he's gone back to doing that, going up the middle, trying to hit the ball to left center field. And he also said, I see so many hitters today take BP like it's a game. He said he's dialed back his BP to conserve energy, but also just to be more relaxed and push the ball, not push the ball, place the ball out over the shortstop's head. He said it's enabled him to hit more line drives, made him a better off-speed hitter. Duh. And he's admitted to the fact, Gary, that he doesn't like the ball inside. Well, who doesn't? But he says, pitchers can't throw 3 in a row in there for a strike. Most. They make their mistakes out over the middle of the plate. To me, it's baseball 101, and that shows an intelligence there from Mr. Freeman that he was able to make the adjustment off that horrible start he had last year, and probably the reason why he came out of it.
Smith handles Markakis' ground ball for the second out. Well, the results are palpable because despite that slow start last year, Freeman had his best season last year, and he's having an even better season this year despite missing 6 weeks with a broken wrist. If it hadn't been for that, you can't even imagine the kind of numbers he'd be putting up this year.
And you saw the graphic there, 62.1% line drives, a ball in the air at second highest in the majors. And you know, Kevin Seitzer, the hitting coach for Atlanta, got him to what he calls flatten out his swing. I always felt that Freddie had kind of, I said it earlier in the game, a little bit of a hockey swing like Hebner. Well, when you swing like that, it makes you vulnerable upstairs. They flattened out his swing just a little bit. So where Seitzer said it, which was very, it just connected with me. It's not so much that he's making contact successfully with that pitch upstairs. He's able to fight it off and stay in the at bat and then hit the mistake. It all makes perfect sense to me.
Camargo takes one the other way for a base hit. Nimmo gets over to cut it off, and Camargo has a 2-out hit. That'll get Dansby Swanson to the plate with 2 out, and we check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, Dansby Swanson looks like a different guy since his recall from AAA, and he attributes that change to a really unique change in his pregame preparation. He started to take batting practice from for a couple of sessions from the left side of the plate rather than the right side of the plate. Swanson used to be a switch hitter. When he got sent down to AAA, his mother suggested trying that just to get a different perspective on what he was doing. And he said when he went to the left side, he felt like his hands were a lot looser, his balance was better. So he takes a couple of rounds from the left side now before getting into his regular routine and feels like he's trying to emulate from the right side what he can do from the left side.
That's very strange.
It is interesting, isn't it not? I can't relate to that because I was never a switch hitter. But, you know, it's all what goes on in Dansby Swanson's mind. If that made him feel more comfortable, then good for him. If he was able to put that into practice.
I wonder, Steve, I mean, was there any thought in Dansby's mind about reintroducing switch hitting?
I asked him that. He said that he has no plans to do it. His mother is pressuring him to do it, though.
Really?
She said, you're a pretty good hitter from the left side. And he said, who knows? Mother knows best.
Well, the only thing I draw from that, and that's all you kids out there watching, always pay attention to your mom, okay? She knows more than you think. Trust me.
That would be pretty hard to reintroduce it at the big league level.
Wouldn't it?
Going back to switch hitting.
Oh my goodness. But if he wanted to, he can go to winter ball and work on it.
And guys, I asked Kevin Seitzer if he's ever seen someone do what Swanson has done, and he said the only guy that he's ever seen do that was Jason Kendall. He used to, when he got into slumps, go take some batting practice from the left side. For a different reason, though, he said Kendall liked to feel uncomfortable from the left side so that he felt more natural when going back over to the right.
You know, it's almost like switch hitters, Gary, that would go up against knuckleballers and hit a Phil Niekro, and you get a switch hitter. It would hit right-handed against Niekro.
Whatever it is for Swanson right now, it's working, because he looks like a different guy since he's been back in the big leagues. Camargo will be running 3-2, 2 out, and Swanson drives one out to left. Nimmo right there though, and that retires the side. A couple of line drives in the inning, but Gsellman survives it. He's got 4 scoreless under his belt and a 2-0 lead. Wants to know when they build a new ballpark is, what are the eats like? Well, you got the Southern tradition, the Waffle House, the chocolate chip waffle there with the syrup. You got your Southern barbecue with the coleslaw.
Nice.
The requisite burger,
of course.
Fries, a couple of sauces there. Chick-fil-A closed on Sundays. Sorry, Mr. Cow.
Hang in there.
Nice eyes, though.
I remember those bus rides in the South, playing in Texas League and those Shoney's. When you had making no money, and that's what you had to rely on. I never liked chicken fried steak. Never. That was a big thing in the southern towns.
Yes, it is.
And I just never could.
It's a Texas thing.
I couldn't get around I just couldn't get into it. I'd rather have a patty melt.
See if we can arrange that. Jose Reyes drove in a run with the first inning triple, and Tehran gets ahead of him 1-2. True to form, Tehran gave up 2 runs in the first inning, but nothing since. His biggest issue right now is his pitch count, 81 through 4 innings. He's walked 4, struck out 4. Got a break to end the 4th inning when Gsellman was tagged out at 3rd. And Reyes pops one up in foul ground. That'll come back out of play. 1-2. Your Spectrum high-speed pitch for this afternoon goes thusly. It's a tie. You get 1 point in the standings, guys.
They can have a shootout.
They could, but they'd still get their point. Changeup misses to Reyes, and it's 2-2. Nimmo on deck. Plawecki behind him. Gsellman talking hitting with Pat Ressler, the Mets assistant hitting coach. Might want to talk about sliding too. And Reyes fouls this one off, and that'll go in the seats. It's going to be interesting to see what Jose's future will be next year. He certainly had a much better last couple of months than he did first half. Strikes out on the high fastball from Tehran for the first out. 5 strikeouts for Tehran.
Chase the high one.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Brandon Nimmo has been up twice and walked both times. And he takes this one the other way, slicing foul. So the Indians clinched their division last night. That means we've got 2 weeks to go in the season. There have already been 2 divisions clinched and maybe a third one today. Houston just needs a win or an Angels loss. I don't think that, since they went to 6 divisions, I don't think that's ever happened. That 3 of the 6 divisions have been clinched with 2 weeks to go. Those are some real walkovers.
In St. Louis right now, they need a win big time in Chicago. They lost the first 2 there.
Nimmo called out on strikes, and there are 2 away. 6 strikeouts for Tehran.
Inside fastball. It's where a hitter at 2 strikes is most vulnerable.
Now Plawecki with 2 out and nobody on, struck out and fouled out. So the Indians have already clinched. They sent Corey Kluber out today in search of his 17th win, and he's shutting out the Royals into the 7th. The Indians have 3 pitchers with 16 wins. Kluber, Carlos Carrasco, Trevor Bauer. You know the last time the Indians had 3 pitchers win 16 games?
Garcia, Feller, and Early.
You got 1. Early Win, Bob Lemon, Herb Score.
Herb.
1956.
Okay.
'54 was the year that they won the 111 games.
Right.
But got swept by the Giants in the World Series.
Right. Dusty Rhodes. Polo Grounds. Wrapped it around the foul pole.
Twice.
Yes, he did.
1-2 to Plawecki with 2 out and nobody on.
Wasn't there the one World Series game when Feller had the pickoff at second base? Am I right or wrong? And they called him safe and he was really out.
Inciarte diving and he makes the catch. Gold glove in center field, and Inciarte shows it off to take a base hit away from Plawecki and retire the side. See him checking out his thumb that he hurt earlier this week. That's on his throwing hand, and he hit it hard on the ground, but he makes the catch. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Robert Gsellman working with a 2-0 lead will face the lower third of the Braves order. Jace Peterson, David Freitas, and the pitcher Tehran. Peterson grounded out his first time up, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike. Much better effort by Gsellman today after getting roughed up in Chicago his last time out, more because of a lack of command than anything else. He walked 5 batters in 4 innings in that start. He hasn't walked anybody today.
Well, this is the kind of pitcher he has to be right here. Changing speeds, keeping the ball down, keeping the hitters off stride. He's doing a good job of it. He has to be precise with his location.
Another ground ball, easy for Smith. Peterson retired, 1 out. Let's check out today's Verizon trivia question. Hank Aaron, 755 home runs, never had a 50 home run season. Most he ever hit was 47. Who has the second most career home runs without ever hitting 50?
Oh, that's easy.
It's easy?
Yes, sir.
Really? There's David Freitas. Freitas lined out to the third baseman, is only at bat.
By the way, I'm wrong. I'm told by the truck.
You were so certain too.
Who was your guess? I thought it was Frank Robinson. I thought Frank never.
Frank had 586.
I thought that Frank never hit over 40. Hit 40 in his career.
I don't think he hit 50. Did he? But there might be somebody.
That was the question. Was someone
who's never hit 50,
right?
Who has the most home runs? And I don't think Frank ever hit 50.
No, he did not.
But I think there's somebody who has more home runs than he does.
Oh, they never hit 50. Okay. So we can eliminate Barry Bonds.
Bonds and Sosa and
McGuire. No, McGuire's not in that.
Ruth.
How about the left-hand hitter for Cleveland and Philly?
Tomey.
He
ever hit 50? How about Pujols? Pujols is 7th all time now. Has he ever hit 50?
I don't think he's hit 50.
So those would be 2 guesses. Here's Freitas grounding one to shortstop. Nice easy hop for Rosario. Gsellman keeping the ball on the ground, gets the first 2 outs in the 5th, and we'll bring you the answer right away so you don't have to stew on it too long. Who's second without hitting 50? There you
got it.
Yeah, Pujols just passed Tomey, as a matter of fact, I think, for 7th all time. He's had an unbelievable career. I know he can't run anymore and he hasn't hit for a particularly high average, but you put him up in an RBI situation, he is still an enormous threat. And his team, the Angels, who everybody figured would go away when Mike Trout got hurt, they are still hanging around, just a game in back of the second wild card. Another ground ball, this one off the bat of Tehran. Evans with a nice pick. 3 ground ball outs for Gsellman, and he's got himself 5 scoreless innings on a sunny day in Atlanta. 2-0 New York going to the 6th. Box score. Mets got both their runs in the first inning. Triples today for Aoki and Reyes amongst the Mets' 3 hits. And that's been enough so far for Robert Gsellman, who's thrown 5 scoreless innings. Oh, by the way, we have a no-hitter alert in a meaningless game, because those are always the ones where it happens, right? White Sox and Tigers, the lefty Matt Boyd has a no-hitter through 6 for Detroit, and he's only thrown 80 pitches in the 6 innings, so he might have a chance. And they're up 9-0.
You got to let him in. You got to leave him in.
Dominic Smith leads off for the Mets in the 6th against Tehran, who's thrown 95 through 5. He has settled in after a rough start. Struck out a pair in a 1-2-3 fifth. Smith has walked and struck out today, 0 for 1. And Dom takes a changeup off the plate for ball 1. Ahmed Rosario on deck, and then Juan Lagares for the Mets in the 6th. And a ground ball for Albies to handle. And Smith retired 1 away. Tonight, after the Jets-Raiders game, tune to SNY for a complete game breakdown with behind-the-scenes access, player reactions, and Todd Bowles' post-game comments on Jets Post-Game Live, presented by Toyota tonight, immediately after the Jets-Raiders game, only on SNY. I'm assuming they've, got the studio cleaned up after that pregame show with cast of thousands. I mean, we read that the people who were on the pregame show. I mean, I'm surprised they have a studio big enough at SNY to hold them all.
Oh, the new digs down there.
Well, I know they have a beautiful view.
Yes, they do. Jets got their work cut out for them this Sunday.
Every Sunday, Keith. Every Sunday.
The black and silver.
What do they call the Oakland Coliseum when the Raiders play there? 7 strikeouts for Rosario. The black hole.
Yes, it used to be the old Oakland Coliseum. What is it? Alameda County Stadium. When it was open in the back with the hills.
Before Mount Davis.
Mount Davis. Jeez. It's ruined all the charm of that stadium.
There's Lagares with Tehran at 100 pitches for the day. He's getting stronger and stronger as this game goes on. Tehran's pitch high for the season was 112. And here he is at 101. Lagares is flied out and fouled out, 0 for 2. And he lines one back to Tehran, who catches it in self-defense to end the inning. What a play by Tehran, and yeah, that one deserves a smile. Saved himself and caught the ball all at the same time on a bullet off the bat of Lagares.
Poor Juan. Jeez.
This is some play by Tehran. Man, it was headed right for his nose. I mean, Lagares hits more hard balls into outs than anybody you've ever seen. Ducked, he threw up the glove, and there's that little gem. Bottom of the 6th, Robert Gsellman begins his 3rd time around the Braves batting order. This is where he's often run into trouble this year. Ender Inciarte trying to push a bunt. Tried that in the 1st inning, and Evans threw him out. Meanwhile, Julio Teheran alive and well after catching that line drive off the bat of Juan Lagares. Will make your life flash before your eyes. Inciarte 1 for 2 today. Had a bloop single his last time. Strokes this one right at Rosario, who gets the big hop and throws him out. 1 away. 5 in a row retired by Gsellman, who keeps on getting the ground balls. That's 10 of them today for Robert.
That's why he's been successful. Putting the ball in play. Only 2 strikeouts. So what?
10 of his 16 outs on the ground. And now Ozzie Albies, who's 0 for 2, struck out and flied out. And he fouls the curveball off his foot. Got the shin guard on. Good thing. And Albies going to take a moment before getting back in the batter's box. Plawecki will take the opportunity to head out to Gsellman. Well, Matt Boyd is now through 7 innings.
Wow.
Against the White Sox.
7 complete.
They have gone to the bottom of the 7th. He has finished 7. And he's got a no-hitter going. He's got a huge lead. Let's see what his pitch count is now. He was at 80 through 6. He's at 91 through 7. So he should have every chance to try and finish that. It's been a completely lost season for the Tigers, who actually were in danger today, if they lost, of dropping into a last place tie with the White Sox. The Tigers have just played horribly for the last 2 months, but that will give them a little breather from the negativity if Boyd can pull that off. Albies pops one up into foul ground. Evans coming over, and in front of the tarp, he makes the catch. Evans has looked very smooth playing 3rd base today, and that's the 2nd out. Quote of the game brought to you by Investors Bank, banking in your best interest. And the quote is from the winningest lefty of all time, the great brave southpaw Warren Spahn, who pitched for the Mets at the end of his career. 363 major league victories.
Right over the top, folks. Had the big screwball change.
Winningest lefty of all time, and if memory serves, he did not, Warren Spahn, get to the big leagues until he was a little bit older.
He lost some service time. World War II.
He was 20 when he made his debut in 1942, pitched in 4 games, and then did not play the next 3 seasons because of military service.
Correct.
And really didn't get back to full-time duty till 1947 when he was 26.
So he could have won.
So he had 8 wins before he was 26, and he won 363.
He could have won easily over 400 games.
Sure.
Easily. What a shame. So many lives disrupted and then terminated, you know, defending our country, and the horrific World War II.
Freeman slashes one foul. Freddie is 1 for 2 today. He's hit 2 balls hard. A double to right in the 1st, and then he had a liner to center that Lagares had to reach up and grab in the 4th. And Gsellman gets him on the high fastball. So Freeman is struck out. Gsellman has just his 3rd strikeout of the day. He's retired 7 in a row. Might have been a slider. Either way, 6 scoreless for Gsellman. And Freeman making his second appearance of the series for the Braves.
He pitched in the first game 2/3 of an inning. He gave up a hit and a walk, but he did not give up a run.
He'll come in to face Phil Evans, who comes up for the third time. He's lined out and popped up 0 for 2 in his first big league start, and he hits this one on the ground down to third. Handled by Camargo. 1 pitch and 1 out for Freeman in the 7th. Tomorrow night the Mets are in Miami to open a 3-game series with the Marlins. Matt Harvey makes the start for the Mets. Dan Straley for the Marlins. 6 o'clock tomorrow night on SNY. And for more on Miami, let's check in with Steve.
Gary, all about that home run ball now in Major League Baseball, and that's even more true when it comes to the Miami Marlins. 7-36 this season when they don't hit a home run in a game. They're 19 games over 500 when they do hit a home run. Just 11 home runs this month. That's tied for worst in Major League Baseball. That's why they're not winning right now. And that, of course, includes a big slowdown from Giancarlo Stanton after a ridiculous month of August. 18 home runs, a .349 average, just 3 home runs in September, hitting under 200.
Stanton has gone 27 at bats coming into today since his last home run, his 54th. He hit 21 home runs in a 131 at bat stretch. Think about that. 21 home runs and 131 at bats. That's 1 every 6 or so at bats for a 5-week period from early August to the middle of September.
So that's at a pace of around 130 home runs in a season.
Sure. But you can't keep up.
It's just hard to fathom.
So he's got 54 home runs, 113 RBIs. But don't forget about Ozuna, who's having a great year. Not only 33 and 111, but he's hitting over 300 as well. And it's a career year for Ozuna. But those two guys have had very little support around them in a Marlins lineup that is 9th in the National League in runs scored, despite those two guys having tremendous years.
And Gary, an interesting note on those two, actually, both with 30+ home runs and 110+ RBIs. The first outfield teammate tandem to do so since Gary Sheffield and Andruw Jones did it with the Braves in 1993.
Gsellman draws a walk, so he's on base for the second time.
2003, I should say.
1 out and 1 on, and Nori Aoki coming up. Well, the Marlins coming into today have lost 16 of their last 19. Remember, they made a little run and got themselves into the wild card race. They were within 4 or 5 games of the wild card lead, and then they've just gone to a tailspin since then. 3-16 over that stretch, and they're down 1-0 today to the Brewers in the last game they're playing in Milwaukee. Home series for the Marlins moved to Miller Park. Aoki fouls one off. Been a good day for Aoki. He's walked, tripled, and singled. When he got the base hit in the 4th inning, Gsellman tried to go first to third and got there safely, but came off the bag and was tagged out. That ended the 4th. And helped out Julio Teheran. That's hit on the ground toward the middle, but Albies is there to step and fire for the double play. Side retired. 4-4-3 double play ends the inning. 7th inning stretch, 2-0 New York.
real dramas of 1978 was the bubblegum blowing contest at Shea between the Mets and the Dodgers. Bobby Valentine realized its importance.
Children on the way up have got to keep chewing. Practice is the key in anything, and you got to make sure you have that bubble gum in your mouth most all the time.
I think I'm looking forward to next year's contest. I'm going to practice all winter.
I want you to know that Bobby Valentine is the most multi-skilled person I have ever met. Right? Baseball, football, basketball, ballroom dancing, bubblegum blowing. The man could do it all.
BV. One of the best third base coaches I ever had. Back to back. Buddy Harrelson, Bobby first, obviously, and Bud Harrelson.
Great manager, master of disguise.
Master of the baseball rule book.
Yes, that's true.
He was also very positive, Bobby. I really enjoyed playing. And he went on to Texas to manage, and I asked him to stay. And he said, I've been wanting to manage. What's my dream? And I said, well, you got to go then.
There are your city probables for the series in Miami. Matt Harvey against Dan Straley tomorrow night. Seth Lugo goes Tuesday night. Rafael Montero tries to keep his good times going on Wednesday afternoon against Jose Urena, who's been by far the Marlins' best starter this year.
13 wins.
Yeah, he's been terrific. I mean, starting pitching has been a huge concern for Miami all year, but they found themselves a gem in Urena, who had been working both out of the bullpen as a starter, but now has found a home in that rotation.
So Robert Gsellman twirling a gem.
Well, this is his spot, right? There are courses for horses. Well, Gsellman's got 6 wins this year. 2 of them have come in this ballpark, and he has thrown 6 scoreless innings this afternoon.
And it's not like he's pitching an 8-0 blowout. It's a tight ball game.
Nick Markakis has been up twice and grounded out twice. Gsellman, after a 5 walks in 4 innings performance in Chicago, has been really solid today. Throwing strikes, keeping the ball in on the hitters, getting his ground balls. 10 ground ball outs in the first 6 innings. Only 3 strikeouts, but that's the way he rolls. And he comes in tight to Markakis, 2-1. Paul Sewald up in the Mets bullpen in case Gsellman needs help. The 6th and 7th innings have always been of a concern to Gsellman. Markakis hits it in the air to left center. Over comes Nimmo, looking through the sunglasses, and puts it away. 1 out. 8 in a row retired by Gsellman. Now Johan Camargo, who singled to left field his last time up. He was the last man to reach against Gsellman. Robert has gone 7 innings this year twice. He did it against the Phillies back in April and against the Brewers in May, but not since. And trying to get through the 7th inning today. And Camargo with a check swing tapper. That'll go foul.
Braves have been unable to adjust to the changeup of Gsellman. Been very effective pitch for him.
It's been an odd year for Rob, who was such a boon to the Mets' run to the postseason last year, but has been so inconsistent this season. Wound up getting sent to the minor leagues at one point. Wound up in a little bit of a sniping battle with the general manager, for which he apologized. It's just been hard for him to put good starts back to back, but boy, he's pitched a wonderful game here this afternoon. This is the kind of thing the Mets need to see going forward to next year when Gsellman will be right in that mix again.
They need to see it on a consistent basis.
2-2 coming. And it's inside. And, you know, with the medical uncertainties surrounding guys like Matz and Wheeler and Harvey, even Syndergaard, since he hasn't gone back to the mound yet, it makes Gsellman at the top of his game even that much more valuable. Camargo hits one past the mound, but Rosario's right there to get it, and he bobbles it, and Camargo reaches safely on the air. Routine play for Rosario, just couldn't handle it.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. We talked about his throwing. It's a one hand on the run. No, not necessary. Field that ball, get yourself set, get in front of it, use two hands. That's loose play right there. In a 2-0 ball game, you can't do it.
Keith, do you think he was concerned about the bag there?
No, I don't. It was just loose play. He does tend to be a little loose out there at times. And if you're not, you know, and I always refer to Bud Harrelson. Bud was always consistent, got in front of the ball, was textbook fundamentals on fielding a ground ball. That's how you get in bad habits. You start playing loose like that, and the game's on the line in September, and you're in a pennant run, it costs you a ball game.
Fourth error for Rosario. So after Gsellman had retired 8 in a row, tying run comes to bat in a 2-0 game. Dansby Swanson lined out to left field his last time up. And a half swing on the slider, and he went around. 0-2.
Well, another look at it here. The ball's past the bag. And I think on the exchange he might have been concerned about the bag, but not fielding the ball.
No, not. I was talking about when he was coming forward to make the transfer. He stepped on the bag, and I was wondering whether he was worried about tripping over it.
Just you got time to get set.
Double play ball if they hurry, and it goes under the glove of Rosario for another error. Camargo goes to third. Back-to-back misplays by Rosario, and the Braves have the tying runs on base.
Well, this one is okay, Gary, because he has to come to the ball to turn the double play. So I have absolutely no problem with this. The ball's not hit hard. You want to turn two. You got to come hard at it and try to at least get the force out and hopefully two. But he just didn't get the glove down.
So the Braves got a runner to third for the first time today against Gsellman. No fault of his. 2 errors put runners at the corners with 1 out, and Jace Peterson coming up. Camargo at third, Swanson at first. Peterson's been up twice, grounded out to the right side both times. And he taps that one foul. Well, you said it earlier in the game. When you have a guy like Gsellman who's a ground ball pitcher, you have to have good defense on the infield, and for the most part today it's been there, but in this inning it has betrayed him. And so that forces him to work that much harder to get through the inning. And he runs the fastball on the inside corner to Peterson, and 0-2. Catcher Freitas, the number 8 hitter, is on deck. And he's going to be called back.
Yeah.
And Kurt Suzuki has come out on deck to bat for him. 0-2 coming. Ground ball to the right side. Reyes will go to first with it as a run comes home. They get the out as Camargo scores to cut the Met lead to 2-1. But Reyes smartly going to first base with that ball. It's the only play he had.
Boy, it would have been nice to be able to keep that runner out of scoring position.
So now Suzuki will bat for Freitas. Catcher for catcher, right-hand hitter for right-hand hitter, but a more experienced hitter and one who's having his best offensive season. So the tying run at second. And Gsellman will get a chance to finish this 7th inning. Suzuki started last night, went 0 for 3 and a walk. Swanson with good speed at second, carrying the tying run. And Gsellman about to throw his 100th pitch.
Good fastball, went right after him. Like it.
Blevins joins Sewald in the bullpen. Lane Adams is out on deck to pinch hit, a right-hand hitter. With September rosters, there are plenty of left-handed bats available in the dugout if need be for Brian Snitker. And Gsellman again gets ahead in the count 0-2. That's 3 straight batters. He's gotten ahead 0-2. Swanson, who hit the grounder that went under Rosario's glove. Peterson, who grounded out to drive in the run. And now 0-2 to Suzuki. Oh-2. Up and away. 93 on the fastball. Gsellman giving a little extra juice. Trying to put the hitter away and end the inning. One-two coming. Poked in the air. Foul ground. Smith's not going to get there. It lands untouched. Ball just not hit high enough for anybody to get there in time. Gsellman's high pitch count for the year was 109. He did that against the Pirates back in June. At 103 now, trying to finish the 7th. Again, the 1-2. Popped it up. Will it stay in play? Plawecki and Smith makes the grab. Side retire. Gsellman gives up an unearned run but closes the door after that. Maybe his best outing of the year. 2-1 New York after 7.
Next year.
To me, this is more of a speed bump than falling off a cliff.
There is still plenty here to get this team right back on track next year, but it'll be an interesting winter to be sure.
Check out an all-new episode of Mets Insider presented by WB Mason today after the postgame, only on SNY. Changes for the Braves. Kurt Suzuki, who pinch hits, stays in the catch. Lane Adams comes into play left. He'll bat ninth. And the new pitcher, rookie left-hander A.J. Minter, will hit seventh in the order. Minter making his 10th big league appearance, second-round draft pick out of Texas A&M, and he's been really good so far. No walks, 12 strikeouts in his first 8 2/3 big league innings. 2-1 New York as we start the 8th. Jose Reyes drives the first pitch to center field, chasing Inciarte back, and he makes the catch. Well, I'll tell you what, you watch a series with Inciarte and Lagares in center field, you're going to see some fine outfield play. 2 Gold Glovers matching them catch for catch.
There he is, top of your screen. Long way to run. Nice play.
Won the Gold last year in center field, might win it again this year. So 1 pitch, 1 hard out, and here's Brandon Nimmo, who's walked twice and struck out today, 0 for 1. And he takes a fastball outside from Minter. And the cutter in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Minter pitched at 4 levels in the minor leagues for the Braves this year, including 17 appearances in AAA, where his numbers weren't great, but they've been very good since they've called him up. And especially the no walks part. Not often you get a rookie come to the big leagues and not walk anybody.
Doesn't look like a big, tall guy, but he's stocky in build.
6 foot 205. 1-2 to Nimmo. And he fouls off the cutter. Kevin Plawecki on deck. Julio Teheran went 6 for the Braves, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits. Both runs came in the first inning. He walked 4, struck out 7. Sam Freeman worked a hitless 7th, and now A.J. Minter in the 8th. That's Alex Jordan Minter. And Nimmo gets tied up, but he stopped the swing. 2-2. Coming up tonight at 10:30, Geico Sports Night. All the MLB action. The Jets and the Giants. All tonight. Geico Sports Night. 10:30. SNY. 2-2 coming. Chopped off the plate, a foul ball. He even smiles when he hits a foul ball off himself. He just can't help smiling. It's a wonderful thing. There are not enough smiles in this game.
He radiates positive waves.
7th pitch of the bat from Minter to Nimmo. And Brandon takes strike 3 called. Cutter got him for the second out.
Well, Minter's a hard thrower, is he not? He's a country hardballer. Everything hard. It's a good cutter right there. Up in the strike zone.
So Nimmo having a Nimmo day. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. And here's Kevin Plawecki, who's 0 for 3, robbed of a hit on a great play by Inciarte his last time up. And the backdoor cutter for a strike. Well, they're about to start the 9th inning in Detroit. Matt Boyd will carry a no-hit bid into the 9th inning. The left-hander for the Tigers has a 12-0 lead and a no-hitter intact into the 9th. Started the inning at 105 pitches. Only been 1 no-hitter in the major leagues this year. That was Edison Volquez for the Marlins back in June. And only won last year. One to Plawecki. So Boyd facing that young White Sox lineup, trying to finish one off. Robert Gsellman probably done for the day after 7 very strong innings today. Plawecki swings at the cutter and foul tips it 1-2. Matt Boyd has not had a good year for the Tigers. Nobody on that team has. 5-10 ERA over 5, but he's having himself a day at Comerica Park. 2-2 to Plawecki, and he fouls one at the plate. And there is now 1 out in the top of the 9th as Adam Engel fouled out to start the inning against young Mr. Boyd. We saw Boyd pitch against the Mets. Was it last year?
I think so.
Two. And Plawecki down on strikes. Good inning for Minter. Gets the Mets 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 2-1 New York. Well, Robert Gsellman done after a wonderful effort today. Did not give up an earned run over 7 innings.
Well, he pitched in. I'm sorry, Garrett, I didn't mean to jump in front of you there, but all the outs here are inside. There's the sinker working. And he had a good change. That was a change right there. It's been another effective pitch. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. Pitch into contact, sinker, location, down and in, getting ground balls.
Oh, just watching Matt Boyd after getting the first 2 outs in the 9th, gave up an opposite field double to Tim Anderson to break up the no-hitter. 1 out shy. As they say, another kid who came close. Lane Adams leading off in the last of the 8th. Came in the game in the double switch in the top of the inning. Adams had a 2-run single against A.J. Ramos in the 9th inning last night. And the curveball misses from Blevins. 2-1. Blevins working for the 2nd time in the series. Friday night worked a scoreless inning. Trying to hold the lead for Gsellman. Trying to get him his 7th win of the year and his 3rd in this ballpark. That's on the corner, and it's 2-2 to Lane Adams. Ender Inciarte on deck. Two coming, and the curveball struck him out. Blevins fans Adams one away. Let's check in with the studio. Doug Williams has more on Matt Boyd and his no-hit effort.
Hang with him. Brilliant effort.
Probably get the win. You know, up 12-0 and all that. Now Inciarte, who's 1 for 3. Evans comes in on the grass at third. And Inciarte takes the curveball out of the strike zone. Inciarte 2 for 7 against Blevins. And the curveball fouled off, 1-1. One to grow on for Robert Gsellman today.
Yes. Keep it up. It's brilliant today.
7 innings, no earned runs. Lowered his ERA from 5.58 to 5.22. Inciarte lifts one foul, and that'll go out of play.
Like playing behind guys like that. Keep you on your toes. A lot of balls. If you're an infielder, you got to be ready.
You know, we were just talking to Terry Collins earlier today about the fact that with all the, you know, conversation about launch angle and hitters trying to hit the balls in the air, that it really takes the infield out of play a little more than used to be the case. But then you get a pitcher like Gsellman on the mound, and all of a sudden your infield becomes that much more important.
Well, 13 balls were hit on the ground if you count the 2 errors by Rosario in the 7th inning. Even though he recorded 11 ground ball outs, but 13 balls were hit on the ground.
Well, most importantly for Gsellman, he got 21 outs. And these days, that in and of itself is a very valuable commodity.
And he did not let the back-to-back there were 2 back-to-back errors by Rosario with 1 out. First and third, 2 out, and got out of it with 1 run.
Gsellman going 7 innings for the 3rd time this year. 3-2 to Inciarte with Albies on deck. And he struck him out looking. Back-to-back strikeouts for Blevins to start the bottom of the 8th. 2 down. People's United Bank brings you today's starters. Mets got 2 off Tehran in the 1st. Braves got just the unearned run off Gsellman in the 7th. A well-pitched game on both sides. Gsellman with the upper hand. Blevins has retired his first 2 via the strikeout, and now Albies bats right-handed for the first time today. He's hitting .342 from this side of the plate, and he fouls off the first pitch fastball. So the Mets have cooled down Albies just a little bit. He had a double his first time up in this series, and that was his only hit.
Yeah, definitely a better right-hand hitter, at least this so far in his young career.
A little more open from the right side, isn't he?
Yes, very much open.
One to Albies, and the curveball stays outside. 2-1. I am assuming that A.J. Ramos is available for the 9th, even with all the pitches he threw last night.
I think Terry would want to throw him back in the fire, don't you? then just tomorrow's a day off for him, obviously.
Threw 30 pitches in a non-save situation last night. Really didn't have any command after he hadn't pitched in 8 days.
And I thought Familia threw real well yesterday, that 8th inning. A nice it was a give up one hit, but I thought he had a good sinker and good velocity, and that's what I'm looking for from Jay Reese.
There's AJ with the hood on. I don't know if Familia is going to pitch back-to-back again this year after how poorly he fared trying to pitch back-to-back days earlier this week. Ramos, of course, is going to be going back to Miami tonight. Be his first time back in Miami and at Marlins Park since being traded. Chance to pitch to his friend Giancarlo Stanton, which I know he is very much looking forward to. 3-2 to Albies, and he walked him, and that'll get Freeman to the plate with a man on. So after 2 strikeouts, Blevins issues a walk, and now Freeman, who has had a lot of success against Blevins.
Yes, he has.
He had an infield hit against Jerry in his outing on Friday night, but those are the career numbers. 8 for 15 against Blevins. So a big spot for Jerry here with the tying run at first. Albies has 3 steals if Braves think about letting him run with Freeman at the plate. Mets are playing no doubles in the outfield, and even Nimmo to the opposite field playing extremely deep against Freeman.
I know they got the charts, but I just think Nimmo's too close to the line. He can get away from that line, cover more of the gap.
And Freddie grounds one down to first. Easy play for Smith. Side retired. So Blevins gets the job done and retires his nemesis as he gets Freeman on the ground ball and cracks a smile after that. 2-1 New York going to the 9th. Even getting weak contact from Freddie Freeman, and that gives the Mets a chance to add on in the 9th inning, up 2-1. Dominic Smith leads off against AJ Minter, who begins his 2nd inning of relief. Got the side out 1-2-3 in the 8th, and Dom nubs one up the third baseline that'll trickle foul. Well, Mets are holding a hurricane relief drive this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at Citi Field between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. Bring canned goods, bring paper goods, bring diapers. Please do not bring perishables. Do not bring clothing. We'll all go to help hurricane victims in Texas and Florida, all at Citi Field coming up this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. For more information, Mets.com/hurricane relief. And of course, the Mets will be heading down to Florida for a series in Miami starting tomorrow.
Get in tonight around 8:15. Have an old normal dinner.
Barring a straining ski.
Mets are going to hang on and win this one. I just have this feeling.
Okay, Nostradamus, I'm with you. A.J. Ramos is up in the Mets bullpen. And Smith takes a strike. Good cutter. 1-2. That's basically what Minter throws. Fastballs and cutters. There's Ramos, who had 30 pitches last night. It's good to go today. One-two coming. Struck him out with the fastball. Boy, Minter looks impressive. 4 up and 4 down with 3 strikeouts for the young lefty.
Kids love candy.
Come on, Keith. No candy. You know that. Come on, Keith. You know he wants one of your famous lollipops. Yum, yum.
I always keep a box in the booth.
Ronnie needs a babysitter and gets stuck with Keith. See how that works out on the latest episode of the SNY.TV digital series, The Amazing Life, presented by Coca-Cola. Check it out now on SNY.TV/Coca-Cola. Ronnie looks great with flames around his feet. Players make a pitching change. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. We'll be right back. Veteran Jose Ramirez makes his second appearance of the series for the Braves. He worked an inning and a third on Friday night. No runs, no hits. Comes to face Ahmed Rosario, who's 0 for 3 today.
He's got good stuff. Big power pitcher.
Got some real quality arms in this Atlanta bullpen. Minter, who we just saw, looked very impressive. Got Vizcaino closing right now. Ramirez setting him up.
Good slider.
Rosario 0 for 7 in this series. And he taps one slowly down to third. Tough play. Camargo does not make a throw against the speed of Rosario, who has his first hit in the series. He can run.
Well, what did they say? The StatCast, Garrett, the fastest shortstop in the majors. There it is on full display.
I mean, you're talking about guys like Trey Turner and Francisco Lindor, and according to StatCast, Rosario is faster than all of them. And he's aboard. Let's see if he tries to swipe a base here with Lagares at the plate. Juan fouls off the first fastball, 0-1.
Juan is a guy that hits so many balls in the ground. I think he does go the other way. I think I'd hit and run with him a lot.
Especially with that big hole open on the right side.
But that's not. It's a lost art.
There goes Rosario. Double clutch by Suzuki, and no chance to get Rosario, who has his 7th stolen base. So there's a big steal for Rosario, puts an insurance run into scoring position.
Well, once he double clutched, he had no shot. I don't think he had a shot anyway. Rosario with a very good jump.
2-strike count on Lagares. And the slider in the dirt, 1-2. Rosario showing off his speed. Infield hit, stolen base. Would he try to steal third with 1 out?
You better make it.
Nobody paying particularly close attention to him. And the slider sits high, 2-2. Lagares last time up hit a line drive that was headed right toward the face of Julio Teheran, and Teheran somehow ducked and got his glove up and snagged the line drive before it could go into center field. Or rearrange his features. 1. Was the last man Teheran retired. He went 6 good innings after a rough first. And the slider gets Lagares for the 2nd out. So Ramirez, after giving up an infield hit, gets a strikeout.
Brought him to his knees.
So 2 out, and now Phil Evans, who in his first big league start has gone 0 for 3. Hit 1 ball hard, a line out to center field his first time up. Rosario at second with 2 down. And Evans with a check swing foul, 0-1. As Drupal Cabrera has come out on deck, he'll pinch hit if Evans keeps the inning going. And Evans smacks one to center. Inciarte racing back. He won't get this one. It bounces up against the wall. Rosario is in. Evans pulls into second base with an RBI double. And the Mets have an insurance run in the 9th. It's 3-1 New York. Boy, Evans has hit some balls really hard his first couple of weeks in the big league.
Well, it's a hanging slider here. Look at the level swing on the high pitch. And this ball's ripped. It gets over the head of Inciarte. Short hops that 400-foot center field wall. So good for Mr. Evans, and I like the way he played third base today. So that's an eye-opener right there.
It's his 2nd double. He's 3 for 11 in the big leagues, and he probably has hit 3 or 4 line drive outs. His first big league RBI as he brings Rosario home with the 3rd Met run, and now Cabrera pinch hits and takes a strike. As Drupal puts a 10-game hitting streak on the line with this pinch hitting assignment. Longest hitting streak he's had this year, and he hasn't just had a hit here and there. He's had multiple hits, and he drives one deep center field. Back goes Inciarte to the track at the wall. It's out of here as Drupal Cabrera with a 2-run pinch hit home run. That keeps his hitting streak alive, and it opens up a 5-1 lead for the Mets in the ninth. What a hot streak he's been on. His 13th home run of the year, his first as a pinch hitter. And the Mets have put together a 3-run ninth inning. Cabrera with a 2-run bomb.
Fastball, wanted it away, down, inner half, into the wheelhouse, crushed. Well, there's your insurance runs.
What a scorching hot September as Dribble Cabrera has put together. The Mets' 5th pinch hit home run this season. So Evans an RBI double, Cabrera a 2-run homer. Now a 4-run lead as Aoki takes a hack and misses, 0-1. Good day for Aoki at the plate. Single, triple, walk. He's 2 for 3. Mets have had just 6 hits all afternoon. And that's hit on the ground. Swanson with a tough grab on the backhand, and too late. Aoki beats it out. That's a beautiful play by Swanson, but Aoki still can get down the line at age 35, and he beats it out for his 3rd hit of the day.
Nice backhand by the youngster, but off balance, couldn't get enough mustard on the throw. I don't think it would have made a difference anyway. Tough hop, nice play.
Aoki has his 3rd hit. Swanson couldn't quite get him. Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach, out to talk to Ramirez, who's faced 5 batters and given up 4 hits. On the way for Asdrubal Cabrera, his 2nd career pinch hit home run. His last one came last year. So no longer a save chance for A.J. Ramos, and I wonder whether Terry will stick with Ramos or go with somebody else in the bottom of the ninth. Especially after he threw so many pitches last night, but he's still up and throwing. Ricky Bonas, though, on the phone, so maybe that'll change.
There's that play again from Swanson. In between hop, always the toughest one. Beautiful backhand. Got rid of it as fast as he could. That's going to get a lot of hitters. But Aoki runs too well.
So now Reyes, who's 1 for 4, had an RBI triple back in the 1st.
So Aoki's got 5 hits in this series. He's had himself quite a series.
5 for 10. Looks like some stirring around in that Mets pen, and somebody else is getting up now. Makes sense. Almost threw 30 pitches yesterday.
Yes.
And so Jamie Callahan quickly to work. See if they can get him ready in time. That might be the biggest concern at this point. There goes Aoki. And no throw by Suzuki, and the Mets have their 2nd stolen base of the inning. 7th of the year for Aoki.
Well, Suzuki having all kinds of issues back there.
Just came into the game after pinch hitting to catch the last couple of innings. And the Mets have stolen twice, Rosario and now Aoki. 1-2 to Reyes, and that sails high. Right after we're done here, don't forget to keep it tuned for WB Mason post-game live. Doug Williams and Jim Duquette will have all the interviews, the highlights, the analysis, everything you need for your post-game listening pleasure. Full count to Reyes, 3-2. And viewing pleasure as well.
Love the new studio. Haven't been inside yet. I have not been there physically. It looks nice on TV.
Yes, it does. Three-2 coming, and Reyes draws a walk. Well, the inning continues, and that'll mean Callahan should have plenty of time to get ready.
And that's the end of Ramirez.
And now we'll have even more time. Brian Snitker will make a pitching change. Brandon Nimmo is coming up. And the Braves will bring a left-hander into the game. Rex Brothers will be the next man out. 5-1 Mets in the ninth. We'll be right back. On to pitch for the Braves.
Boy, oh boy, I recall him in Colorado, Gary. He had a good arm.
He had a great year for the Rockies in 2013. 72 games, 1.74 ERA. Comes in to face Nimmo and misses with a fastball. But Brothers was traded to the Cubs last year and was released in spring training last year and never pitched professionally last season. Signed by the Braves this spring, and after a stint in AA and AAA, now making his 23rd appearance. Definitely has a good arm. 1-1 to Nimmo, who's walked twice and struck out twice today. Mets have scored 3 runs in the 9th inning. Nimmo the 8th man up in the inning. Kevin Plawecki would be next. And Nimmo fouls one off the plate, 1-2. All started with a 1-out infield hit by Rosario. He stole second, and then everything else has happened with 2 out. Evans doubled to the center field fence to drive in 1 run. Cabrera hit a 2-run homer. Aoki with an infield hit. He stole a base, and then Reyes walked. All that against Jose Ramirez, who faced 6 batters and retired only 1 of them. So it looks like the Mets will save A.J. Ramos if they can. Save him for his homecoming to Miami tomorrow. And Nimmo down on strikes. Brothers puts an end to the inning, but not before the Mets score 3 for insurance. 3 outs to get. Mets up 5-1. Last game of the year for the Mets here at SunTrust Park in its first year, and the Mets have been very comfortable guests. A chance to win 7 out of 10 here in this new ballpark in the northwest suburbs of Atlanta. We'll miss you, SunTrust Park. Well, it will be A.J. Ramos after all to pitch the 9th inning.
Bit of a surprise after, what did he throw, 30 last night?
Yep. Second straight day he's worked in a non-save situation.
Ramos is one of those rubber arms too, I guess, I feel.
Last night he had all sorts of control issues. Walked a batter, gave up a couple of hits, 2 runs in the 9th. Nick Markakis leads off, and Markakis takes a first pitch fastball for a strike. A little different program. Ramos, who throws so many first pitch breaking balls. Markakis, then Camargo and Swanson for the Braves in the 9th after the Mets put up 3 in the top of the inning to create some breathing room. Breaking ball misses, and it's 1-1. Robert Gsellman went 7, allowed 3 hits and an unearned run, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Brilliant performance by Gsellman today. Jerry Blevins worked a hitless 8th, and now Ramos in the 9th. And a half swing. Markakis went around 1-2. That's trying to get a series victory here in Atlanta before heading off to Miami, where Ramos pitched for 5.5 years.
He'll reunite with his old buddy.
It's got to be an odd thing, Keith, anytime you go back to play your old team for the first time.
Yes, it is. But once the game starts, it's all business, but it does feel strange in the preliminary pregame warm-ups, BP and all that.
AJ faced the Marlins in New York, but he hasn't faced them in Miami yet. Slider, strike 3 call. Markakis caught looking and gives a withering glance to C.B. Buckner. Another unhappy customer. 1 down in the last of the 9th.
CB can get a little expanded strike zone.
It's not the worst call he's made today. So 1 out and nobody on now. Johan Camargo, who reached on an error and scored the only Atlanta run in the 7th. He's 1 for 3 on the day. And Camargo takes a first pitch slider for a strike.
There goes the "Let's Go Met" chant.
That's drilled into right field, a base hit for Camargo. So he has his 2nd hit of the day. And the Braves have a 1-out base runner. Just their 4th hit this afternoon and their 1st since the 4th inning. And now Dansby Swanson will come to bat with 1 out and 1 on. Swanson 0 for 3 today. Looks like Matt Adams is coming out on deck to pinch hit with the pitcher spot due up next. Smith playing behind Camargo, the runner at first. And that slider runs up and in. Ball 1. Indians win again today. That's 24 of 25. As they beat the Royals 3-2 behind Corey Kluber, his 17th win. Kluber is now 17-4. He struck out 9 more batters today. What a year he's had. Looks like the Cy Young leader in the American League. It's a call, strike 1-1. One to Swanson. As a fastball, strike 1-2. Shadows just starting to encroach from the first base side. It's been a mostly sunny afternoon.
And they will have no effect this game if Ramos puts it away. Those shadows are a day late and a nickel short.
1-2 coming. And the slider off the plate. I don't know, Keith. AJ was out on that mound for a long time.
I know. I hear you.
If he takes as long as he did last night, we might all be in shadows.
We need to go to Miami. We need to get to Miami. It's my favorite hotel there we stay at. Beautiful hotel.
Don't say any more. 2-2 coming. Fouled away. The Marlins are getting thumped again today. Second time in that series they've given up an 8-run inning. They're down to the Brewers 9-3. They're looking at 17 losses in their last 20 games unless they're rallying. Again, the 2-2. Inside, full count to Swanson with Adams on deck to pinch hit. Well, you have to figure after 30 pitches last night and what looks like it's going to be a not easy inning here in the ninth. Almost might not be available for tomorrow's game. 3-2 with one out. And Swanson hits one out to center. Lagares is there. 2 out. And back to first Camargo, and now the Braves are down to their final out of the afternoon. And Matt Adams will be the pinch hitter. Adams pinch hit last night and struck out against Jacob deGrom. So the Mets got 7 innings out of deGrom last night, 7 innings out of Gsellman today. Well, that's been such a rarity lately for the Mets to get 2 such lengthy outings from their starters back to back.
Bullpen can catch their breath.
Everybody except Ramos. Camargo runs. Mets will let him go on defensive indifference. Adams 0 for 2 in his career against Ramos. And the slider stays high. 2-0. If Adams keeps it going, Kurt Suzuki would be next. The Astros are up 7-1 on the Mariners going to the 8th. If the Astros win, they are the American League West champs.
Would that be a sweep up in Seattle? Or did Seattle win a game?
They did not. The Mariners being swept toward the door. They were 3.5 out of the wild card going into the day. May just come down to Minnesota and the Angels for that last postseason spot in the American League. 3-0 to Adams. And there's a strike. 3-1. Cardinals tied up the Cubs 3-3. Ronnie's doing that game in Chicago.
And he's going to turn around and fly back to Miami and join us.
He's seen a lot of Chicago this week. Back and forth. 3-1 coming. And Adams takes it high. Ball 4. Now the Braves have 2 men on. So Atlanta has life in the ninth. A single and a walk. And Ramos again struggling to have himself a clean inning. And that'll get Josh Smoker to work in the bullpen. I mean, he threw 30 pitches last night. He's thrown 19 already in this inning. It was a little surprising when he was brought in another non-save situation when they had gotten Callahan up, hoping for a clean inning, I'm sure. Micah Johnson runs for Adams at first base. So now here's Suzuki. Braves need one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate. Still down to their final out. Suzuki fouled out as a pinch hitter in the 7th. Stayed in the game behind the plate. And goes after the first pitch slider. 0-1. Camargo at second. Johnson the pinch runner at first with 2 out. Shadows are on home plate now, Keith.
Still no effect. No negative on the hitter yet.
Maybe Ramos is just trying to wait it out. Wait till those shadows become impactful before putting this game to bed.
That's, boy, it's like dividing your army in front of the enemy.
Milwaukee sets up inside, and Suzuki fouls off the fastball, and now the Braves are down to their final strike. Mets will see the Braves the last week of the season. 4-game series at Citi Field, including a doubleheader a week from tomorrow. So they're not done with Atlanta just yet. One-two coming. Check swing tapper. Ramos off the mound, and the ball game is over. Ramos gets the final out in a non-save situation for the second straight day. Brilliant effort by Robert Gsellman as Dribble Cabrera puts the game away with a 2-run pinch hit home run, and the Mets defeat the Braves 5-1 to take the rubber game of the series.
Well, it's all Gsellman today. He's the hero. 7 innings, 3 hits, no run, 1 run, excuse me, unearned. Just pitched a brilliant ball game. Pitched to contact on the offensive side for the Mets. Reyes got the Mets on the board with an RBI triple. Rosario drove him in with a fielder's choice. And then the Mets had the big blowout in that 9th inning. The 2-run pinch hit home run by Cabrera's 13th.
As today's game summary brought to you by Tri-State GMC. Gsellman, 7 wins this year, and 3 of them have come in this ballpark. Didn't allow an earned run today in 7 innings of work. For every Mets win, the Mets organization is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Cats Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northwell.edu/cats. This win brings the total contribution so far this season to $162,500. Every Mets win this year means another opportunity to win amazing prizes from Delta Airlines. Go to sny.tv/Delta Dugout to sign up now. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Tri-Honda. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on 2017 models. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. By Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. Visit us at titosvodka.com. And by Infiniti, empower the drive. Final score this afternoon, the Mets 5 and the Braves 1. Mets take 2 of 3 in this series. Now head to Miami to open a 3-game series tomorrow night with Matt Harvey on the mound. Our coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow night right here on SNY. Now for Keith Hernandez, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen in Atlanta. Time for WB Mason Post-Game Live. Let's join Doug Williams and Jim Duquette in the studio. Guys?